This programme was made with support from the National Lottery Heritage Fund. With a history dating over 1,000 years, the parish church of St James stands as a grand testament to this town's rich heritage. Welcome to the Heritage Channel, coming to you this month from the grand setting of Grimsby Minster. In 1114, an existing religious building on the site was transferred to the Bishop of Lincoln. In the following years, he supervised many renovations and developments to the building, resulting in St James, a church containing a nave with 6 bays. A central tower was added in 1365, and in 1586 St James became the parish church of Grimsby.
They renewed or built for the first time the tower, and unusually we know the date exactly because the inscription saying "Please pray for the soul of John Ingston, who built it," and what the date was, is inscribed on one of the piers behind me. Grimsby's got 2 ancient church buildings. What's labelled as Marygate area of Grimsby was the other parish church. It was bigger, and it was the town's parish church. And this big church was the second one, and ended up being transferred not so much to the bishop as to Wellow Abbey. At the Reformation, you might have expected with the dissolution of the monasteries that the parish church that belonged to the abbey would eventually become derelict. But actually St Mary's Church was in a bad way of repair, and the town simply decided that they would adopt the St James Church as their parish church.
In 1856, Canon Ainsley began a complete restoration of St James, which included lengthening the chancel and the rebuilding of the south transept.
Ainsley was the first full-time vicar on the spot as the community grew and the fishing industry grew and the railway had come and the population soared, who was determined to try and put the place in order.
Many of the skills needed to undertake these works are often thought of as lost, but the local council here in North East Lincolnshire are determined to preserve them for future generations and to facilitate the ambitious programme of renovation and regeneration currently underway in nearby Cleethorpes.
Well, today is a public event. We're showcasing all of the heritage skills, so brickwork, roofing, stonemasonry, scaffolding, to really sort of raise awareness of the importance of these traditional skills. Yesterday was a school's day only, and that was the real focus. So we had 250 local students, year 9 and 10s come through yesterday. And the children were so engaged with it. The built heritage is really important to us. It gives our identity. And Cleethorpes has its own character, you know, that Victorian traditional seaside. And so we need those skills to be able to maintain those properties to a high standard, keep that heritage alive. I think on the townscape, the townscape heritage, it focuses on Alexander Road and Seaview Street, and we've got those beautiful balconies. Working with the local freeholders and the businesses to bring these projects together is really great. You know, there's a real investment from the local community to actually want to restore their heritage as well. As we know, Cleethorpes have got 18.4 million for the levelling up funding. Townscape Heritage is 3.8 million, and we'll be looking to hopefully improve on that. That's the aspiration. And yes, you know, 5-10 years time, that these projects will be going on, and we need those new career people coming through, those new apprentices coming through. You can get a really rewarding career with working with your hands. You've got a career for life in construction.
Bomb damage during the Second World War and subsequent restoration means the exterior has the appearance of a 19th century building.
One of the most significant dates that people forget is 1944, when two different bombs fell immediately next to it and blew out one corner and blew out one end. And amongst other things, shattered every glass in the place. There were just one set of windows that survived.
Inside the Minster, you will find a wealth of historical treasures, including a 15th century knight effigy, not one but two pipe organs, and the famous Grimsby Imp.
When people come in here, I think the first thing is they're surprised by the size. It's bigger than your average parish church. As you wander around, one of the things you see is windows all the way down the sides, which have been renewed because the firm that had supplied them in about 1900 onwards was still working and still had the drawings. So a lot of them have been replaced and look older. But the rest of the windows are striking modern windows. The 20th century glass, the new post-war glass, is a joy in different parts of the building. The main east window is a memorial to the fishermen who died in the war. So a window full of seagulls and people being supported in fishing with St. Peter and St. Nicholas supporting them from either side. And the Lady Chapel with its story of Mary's song at the time of knowing that she was expecting Jesus to be born. There are quite a lot of bits of furnishing around the building that are quite ancient too. We think the font here may date back as far as the building itself and is rather a gracious piece of furniture. There is a single tomb of a medieval knight, which we think was originally in the chapel of the convent that stood where Nuns' Corner is. Showing children round, they always enjoy the fact his feet are resting on a lion. We house the town's war memorial, ranks and ranks of names, particularly remembering the Grimsby Chums, but actually all the others, is a major part of the Resurrection Chapel in here, and perhaps another symbol of the way in which the church is the civic church. At different times there have been organs in the church, and the one that was in the side aisle at the time of the bombing was destroyed. So a post-war major organ stands at the back. But it's a long way away from where the choristers sit and sing. So there's a small, more bigger than a chamber organ behind the choir now. Lincoln Cathedral has a carving which is referred to as the Lincoln Imp. There's a nice carving of somebody holding the tower on their back high up by the crossing here, that recently people have been calling the Grimsby Imp. I think they've invented the title. It's certainly not an imp. Most Christian churches are built east-west, facing the rising sun, possibly facing Jerusalem. The main nave of the church is on that axis. The two transepts going sideways from the high altar, and where the modern high altar is at the centre of the building, then form a cross shape. And again, that might be a significant evidence of who we are. At the point at which the main nave was built, going higher was important, and there is a slightly unique feature about the church here where a triforium above is combined and runs in one go. What used to be Grimsby until 1996, when the Unitary Authority of North East Lincolnshire was created, has got 6 Grade 1 listed buildings. The Dock Tower is one of them. The other 5 are the 5 medieval churches that stand here. The Minster is by far the biggest of those 5 churches, but there are lovely features in some of the others as well. So it's a good centre to have for worship and for the community, and just for its heritage interest in itself.
James College, opened in 1883, was the only choir school in the UK attached to a parish church. It continues today as St James School, and in 2013 opened membership of the choir to boys and girls from any local school. In 2010, the parish church of St James was finally granted Minster status. The Minster making ceremony took place on Sunday the 16th of May 2010, led by the Lord Bishop of Lincoln and the Bishop of Grimsby.
This church has always seen itself as serving the community of Grimsby as the civic church for many years. There was quite a fashion in the end of the 20th century for major churches like that to be designated as a minster. I think in terms of the church here, it was merely affirming the work that this church had been doing for many years.
Over the years, this parish church in the heart of Grimsby has always welcomed Christian visitors and immigrants from abroad, helping them integrate into their new life and welcoming them into the local community. Another organisation that supports foreign immigrants to the area is Health Gospel. Its members, mainly working in the local health service, recently showcased their culture in Africa Day, a cultural celebration of African food, crafts and music at Freeman Street Market. In other heritage news, the newly reformed Heritage Network welcomes individuals and organisations with a passion for local heritage. You can register for the next meeting at the YMCA on the 27th. Heritage Lincolnshire are seeking donations to save the Grade 2 listed Wonky House on Middlegate in Lincoln. Historic Doddington Hall are hosting the popular biennial sculpture exhibition from the 20th of July with works by over 60 artists. Internationally acclaimed boys choir Liberia are performing with a live orchestra in the historic setting of Lincoln Cathedral on the 30th of July. Grimsby Studio in Grimsby are hosting a series of practical workshops in traditional crafts starting on the 23rd of July. And the 2024 Festival of the Seas, celebrating the town's links with its maritime heritage, was enjoyed by a record number of visitors. The recently completed regeneration of St James Square provides a beautiful public space for relaxation and reflection, the perfect setting for the historical majesty of this grand minster, whose origins stretch back almost 1,000 years. The first project in an £100 million regeneration of the town centre, it offers a celebration of the town's heritage in the flagstones leading across the square to the minster doors and the public artwork reflecting the town's history. We will be reporting on the progress of this ambitious transformation in a series of news bulletins over the coming months. The first one will look at how the High Street Accelerator programme is tackling crime and antisocial behaviour, providing a safer, cleaner and greener space for local people and visitors to enjoy. From everyone on the Heritage Channel, thank you for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you next month for more heritage news, views and local stories. This programme was made with support from the National Lottery Heritage Fund.